Oh, the camera's on. Oh, my bad. You sitting here trying to dine real fast with my new friend Angel, but hold on. Let me give y'all the correct introduction. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube world. I am the homie No Cash. Yep, the one and only. If there's another, he's the phony because y'all already know me. And if perhaps you don't know me, I want you to push rock'em sock'em bop that subscribe button, fan, and follow me and get to know me. Because to know me is to love me. And if you love me, you may look out for me and have my best interests at heart. Like I got my good friend Angel right here, man. Angel is my new friend that I just met tonight, y'all. And I'm not gonna make this long and drawn out. I have this new, it's not a new, but God has a calling on my life. And it's a particular calling. And I was kind of running away from the calling, or I was going the opposite way from what the natural order things have been ushering me to do. And even though I was, having a hard time making the decision to move forward, my spirit was tugging at me and tugging at me and tugging at me, and I wasn't listening. And so, long story short, I went back home, went back to South Carolina, Florence, South Carolina. I don't have a home. I went back to my mother's house to go and pick up a new phone that somebody had bought me and to take a shower. And things was coming at me from a negative angle that for the first time in my life, I just did not pay it any attention. I just let it go over my head. I let it go over my shoulder. And I think the energy from that was striving to push me to do what I needed to do, but I didn't allow it to. And so here I come back to Chelsea, and I'm working Uber and Lyft, driving in my van, you know what I'm saying, doing what I gotta do here, even sleeping in my van. I'm sleeping in my van and making a way for myself as I wake up and go ahead and drive Uber, And the day I go and I pick up my good friend Angel here, and as I'm going to pick him up, before I goes to pick him up, I see his name on the car that says Angel. And the address that I'm taking, which I thought what I was taking him to, was there too, and it was 5,000, 50000, 3 zeros, which is angel numbers. And when I saw those angel numbers and I saw his name Angel, I was just like, it's like an epiphany. I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick up an angel with angel numbers. What's the irony of that? And so I'm thinking Angel was a female. I ain't gonna lie. Although I know that Angel is a unisex name, I was thinking the female Angel. All right. Okay. Long story short, I get there and it's this guy. And as I'm getting him, this while we're shooting this video is because he, and the spirit in me, is forcing me to do this because I was going to ignore this tonight too, but I can't do it again. He got in the car and he had this girl with him. I thought there was a couple. I thought they was going the same place. We get to the stop that they were going to, and the girl gets out. But before we get to the stop, can you tell them what a little bit of what the girl was conversing with us about, just a little bit, so they won't think I'm making everything up. What did the girl that was sitting with you was telling us in the car?
She was sitting there talking to us about how she had to sit there and get away from her family. She got into a relationship with this guy, and
this is why she had to get away from her family.
Just because the color of her boyfriend's skin. Her mom immediately kind of like lashed out, going like, nah, you're trading sides now.
You're a race trader, and you won't be able to bring no black man to this house, is what she was telling him in the back seat, which is they were having their own personal conversation in the back of the Uber. Okay, I'm minding my business, but not minding my business, being a little bit nosy, but only not being nosy because of the racist part. I was being nosy because I heard a woman back there, a younger girl in the back seat, or a woman, she's a young lady, speaking against the forces of her parents that she didn't believe was right. And she stood for what she believed in, and she said she disowned them. She didn't want to see them anymore because they was just hateful and they were racist. I was like, ooh, okay, I get it. It takes a strong person to do that and speak truth to power. And that's what I was admiring about her. So I injected in the conversation and I said something to both of them. And, you know, they began to talk to me and include me. And then after talking to me, I shared with Mr. Angel that I was like, Angel, I said, it's crazy that your name is Angel. And I saw this before we actually started talking, but I was taking y'all to an angel number place too. And I thought that was ironic, man. You know about angel numbers? And so we talked about that a little briefly. And he thought it was ironic too. And so we got the girl out of the car. We get to where the girl is at. And she gets out. Because he booked her a ride and didn't even book himself a ride. He just was doing this girl a good Samaritan favor because she would have been walking in the rain when he was at the place where he was. And when he heard her expressing that her adversity that she was facing with, he helped her by booking her an Uber. She said she didn't want to ride by herself. He said, okay, well, I'll ride with you. He rolled and get her in the Uber and get her home and didn't even set him up a second stop to get him where he needed to go. So as she's getting out of the car, I'm noticing he's stuck as an Uber driver. We're really not supposed to take anyone, whether it's our kids, parents, family member, friend, whomever. You can't take people with you to pick other people up when you're driving Uber and Lyft. But this was a different case because I had just given him a ride. He didn't set up a second trip, and so instead of me telling him to get out of my car and leaving him there stranded, I told him to get in the front seat. Now I'll take him with me to pick the next person up that I already had in the queue, and then I'm gonna shut the app off. No more requests. When I take that second person, I'll take you after them. Is that all right with you? He said, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for helping. I helped him because he helped that lady, and because I didn't know that he was going to end up helping me like he's helping me right now. And I didn't know that this wasn't my plan or his plan. This is God's plan. And I didn't know that the Spirit was ushering me to do what thus says God right now. Like, move on it now instead of making excuses and, pushing things off, because that's what I was doing. So long story short, no, I ain't even gonna try to make this a short story because this is a real story, okay? When he was going to try to book it, it wouldn't let him book it. So I said, get in the front seat, I'll take you with me to go pick this other guy up, shut the app off, and then I'll take you last. If you got anywhere, you in a rush, you say, no, I'm good. So we talking as we go to pick this guy up. And now I'm gonna let him tell me, because I stopped him. And I told him, I said, don't talk no more about this because this is God. And then I went to talking to him, telling him why I think this is God and why God put me and him in each other's presence. And I didn't know. He knew God put us together now. But here's what I found out, and I'm going to let y'all hear it, why I wanted to record this. And y'all going to know that this is God as well. But we got to the point where you started sharing with me something, right? I want you to get back to that point of the conversation where I stopped you at. And then we're going to just let God use us and go from there.
Okay.
Tell them what you shared with me.
While I was there in the car, we're kind of just relaxing, kind of coasting along with this. But,
And as y'all can see, I'm a black guy with dreads. He's a white, cool guy in the military. I'm just a regular old homeless man, nobody, right? We're from two different walks of life, don't have a lot in common, so it looks like, you see? And I probably never would be opening up and talking to this guy, or him opening up and talking to me, but listen to what he's about to tell y'all what transpired.
I was sitting there talking with the girl while we were just waiting there for the ride, you know what I mean? And I felt bad, and it was more out of just instinct. And it's dark, it's rainy, and this girl was gonna sit there and walk back home in the dark like this. I couldn't just let that happen, so I ended up booking her this Uber, and she didn't want to ride alone, so I was like, that's fine, I'll go with. And I just didn't want her to be by herself. I have friends back at home where I'm from, and just hearing about like the type of stuff that could happen at night like that, it's just messed up. I couldn't let her possibly be a victim to that. And I didn't even want to sit there and I don't know her. This is the first time I ever met her, but
He's just doing a favor for someone. After
Yeah.
sitting there talking to her, he saw her struggle and decided to help her.
yeah. But yeah, no. During the ride, I mean, it was just interesting and like weird how like things just started clicking together. I mean, I was in the car, and I mean, my buddy here. I mean, he kind of told me that I was just being a good guy for it. I mean, I wasn't trying to do like anything special.
He wasn't going out of his way or anything, right? But we started talking and tell them what you ended up sharing with me, and I didn't even ask you this. I said, how old are you? You said you was 20. And what did you tell me you was from?
Got it.
And then you told me what? Get back to that, because I want you to talk more. And I told you to don't talk no more about that.
Uh-huh.
I want you to pick back up from there so they can understand. And yeah.
In Chicago during the winter time, I mean, it hits like -60 sometimes, but I was pretty much forced to just live on my porch at my mom's place. I wasn't allowed to even really be inside the house.
You were supposed to live on the porch at your
Yeah.
mom's place.
I wasn't good enough to have a bed.
No. You don't think you wasn't good enough to have a bed. Your
She thought so.
mom told you that you wasn't good enough to have a bed
Yeah,
and let you sleep on the front porch in
-60-degree weather.
-60-degree weather. Mama, I love you that you didn't do that to me. I love you, and I'm not being funny. And I want you to understand that this is who my calling is for people like this. I didn't even know that he was going to minister to me or me minister to him about anything, because it wasn't even that type of party. But once he shared with me that, right there what he told me, now I want him to talk a little bit more, like, because I cut you off. But share with me, with us, a little bit of the dynamics of why your mother made you sleep on the front porch.
My mom.
Why your mother don't feel like you deserve a bed? Why do you told me something that I cut you off at? You said your mother, and I told you you made me understand something really good about my mom. What was that phrase you said?
She was a kill all men type of person.
God damn, say it again.
She was a kill all men type of person.
He got in my car. He said my mother is like a kill all men type of woman. She's a kill all men type of woman. And I've never heard that said like that in my life. But in my mind, when I thought about my own mom, the only man who my mom would have not wanted to annihilate is my granddaddy, which was her daddy. But every other man, or any man that don't agree with her, or anybody that don't agree with my mama, is her way or the highway, or your head gonna get chopped off. So when he said that to me, I was like, wow. I said, why you say that? You know, because I wanted to know why you said his mama was a kill all men. And then what did you say? Or just go ahead and finish talking. You ain't gotta make it long and drawn. I mean, make it like exactly what we said. You just share with me now what you want and tell me that I was cutting you off. And then get to what it drove you to.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, talk, man. Be real with this thing.
I really wasn't like allowed to like live in the house or anything. I was pretty much only useful to her simply because I could do work around the house. That's the only reason she really tolerated me.
He can do work around the house. So that's the only reason why she tolerated. That's what you said, tolerated? I want to share with you, don't no longer go no place where you're tolerated. Only go where you're celebrated or appreciated. Never go where you're tolerated. Because when people tolerate you, they're going to get fed up with you at a certain point. Don't deal with toleration. But wow, that's crazy. Go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead, what you were saying.
I chose that lifestyle, living on the porch though, over my only other option, which was to move back in with my dad.
So, hold on. He chose to take the treatment from his mother and sleep on the front porch in the 0 below weather. other than to take his only other choice that he thought he had, which was what? To do what?
Living with my abusive father.
Living with his abusive father. All the dad did was beat him. So he'd rather sleep in 60 below weather. I mean, negative 60 weather than to go to his dad's house. But the mom didn't see fit for him to even have a bed. Now, this ain't me trying to sit here and bash his dad or his mom, because this ain't even about his daddy. We wasn't even talking about his dad. That's the first time he really kind of slid that in on me as far as about how he feel, what his dad did. But, and I'm not even worried about his mom. I'm here because I didn't even know at this point, right, God was using me to minister to him, to encourage, uplift, and empower, and to, according to him, give him some type of therapeutic help, because I didn't know he was going through therapy until we started talking a little more. And he shared with me, he said the things that we were doing and talking about and how I was treating him and the things that was transpiring was way more helpful. Tell him what you said.
It's way more helpful than like the past 3 weeks of therapy that I've been able to do. I've been able to relate to someone that goes through the same stuff that I do, which is, it's very helpful knowing that there's other people that go through the same shit I'm going through right now. In therapy, I'm listening to other people's stories. They all have their own problems. But simply with the fact that all of us are going through different stuff, it's not like I can relate to that. I can't tell them, try and help them on any of the problems going on in their lives. I'm kind of just an outside point of view.
Because you can't relate to their problem, right?
Yeah.
And I tell y'all a lot of times, that's the proof that what I'm telling y'all is truth. When you're aiming to help someone or give someone advice or instructions or directions or help, you need to specialize in the help that they need. Meaning you need to have gone through the problem that they went through so that you will know best how to help them. If you have not gone through the problem that they have, then you will not be able to fully relate to what they're going through. And my calling, which is this calling on me helping young kids like him deal with parents that didn't appreciate their kids. Let's put it like that. I don't want to make it sound harsh as it is. We can't make it sound any more crazy than what it is, okay? But I know my calling is to the youth. And I say it. Everything that I ever wanted will be given to me. I have the best life, health, wealth, strength, success. I'm prosperous in all of my endeavors. I am building an empire to leave behind a legacy to take care of my family, immediate and extended, for generations and generations and generations and generations to come. My cup will runneth over, and the overflow shall be for the homeless, and the underprivileged youth, and the people on my periphery that's helping me to push forward towards productivity and progression. But besides those people that are helping me to push forward towards productivity and progression, which I like to call my blue dot alignment, besides them, my mission is for the underprivileged youth and homeless. Okay? Now, when I say underprivileged youth, that means a plethora of things. It can mean lack of money, the youth that didn't have money, didn't have decent parents, didn't have everything that I embodied, that I went through, the life that I went through. I got a heart and empathy towards the youth that could possibly go through that. And so when I heard him hint to me that you was raised by your tell him that part, that you was raised, that's what really significant. Why I told him about the angel name and his address that I already knew was God sending me a sign about him. But I wasn't going to say anything. This is what made me say something. You told me what?
My grandfather is a deacon in the Catholic Church, and my grandma.
His grandfather's a deacon, my grandfather's a deacon. You see the similarities that we never would have known looking at his white color and my black color and my dreads and his whatever coolness that he got going on. Okay? We never would have thought this. But he was raised by his grandmother and his grandfather just like me. His grandfather was a deacon just like mine. So he began to share some stuff. What?
My grandma is a better person, or like Jesus or best friend. They both decided to raise me when they saw that my parents weren't. all the things that like a typical dad would do, whether he would teach you how to ride a bike, play catch, be respectful to people. That was all stuff my grandpa taught me. And then my grandma, like taking care of people, being like having hospitality, being able to like cook and clean, being able to function in her own home. And all these like morals and good manners, all that was taught by my grandparents. And that's the kind of like led me to what happened today, where I was in there helping out that woman. I don't know her. It doesn't help me if I was to sit there to give her a ride, or even to offer to walk her back home. But it just felt like the right thing to do, simply because of the stuff I was taught.
And I'm gonna say this. A lot of people would look at that, what he did for that lady, that gesture, and you can easily downplay it and say, oh, he just was trying to talk to her, oh, he just was trying to get a girlfriend, oh, he just was trying to get some sex. None of that stuff was on that man's mind, and I can tell you that myself. And a lot of times, I go through the same things because over the past 3 years, I've been celibate. And just because I'm celibate doesn't mean that I don't like to interact with the opposite sex. Doesn't mean I don't want to go on dates sometimes with the opposite sex. Don't mean I want to, even build like some type of friendship with the opposite sex. That just means I don't want to be sexing them, okay? And so a lot of times I find myself in situations where as though I'm doing things for women or giving a woman a compliment, I could be looked at it the same way he's looked at, that people could look at that like, oh, he's just doing that because of this, but I know that I'm not doing it because of that, because of sex or because of anything sexual, because I'm celibate. But a lot of times people see you and they don't know these things about you. And they only can depict you for what they see you as or for what they perceive you to be. And perception is real to the perceiver, but that doesn't mean it has to be truthful and factual. So what someone perceives about you may be real to them, but it does not mean that it has to be truth and factual about you. So a lot of times people look at the things that I may have done for women and they'll say he just did, or even on apps, on social media sometimes, they say he just doing it because he know you're lying. That's what you say that because most other men are doing that for those reasons. But this guy gave her did a genuine favor for her. For no money, got her where she's going, rode with me to get her where she was going, and was so focused on getting what she wanted done, he didn't even think about his way out of the situation, how he was going to get the way he was going. He just thought I could have took him back where he was, or he could have just reordered, but it was like too late. When we was dropping her off, he didn't have it thought out. So because he didn't have it thought out, here's what happened. This is what got Landis here. I said, yo, this is she getting out here and not you? He was like, yeah, I was just giving her a ride home because it was raining, man, and she was stranded, and I was just doing her a good favor. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, well, you ain't got yourself, you ain't did no second trip. He tried to make a second trip in the app, but I'm dropping her off. It was like the pickup is over. I'm gonna put this back. And so, thank you, big sir. So I said, I was like, the pickup is over. So he was like, oh man. I was like, don't worry about it. Get in the front seat. I got a ride in the queue. I'm gonna go and pick them up. I'm gonna take you with me to pick them up. Don't be alarmed. I really ain't supposed to do this. I said, but I'm gonna take you because I don't really want to leave you stranded. I'm not supposed to leave you stranded either. You just was my last ride. So I'm not gonna let your mistake cause you to be stranded. Get in the front seat and I'm gonna ask the person that I pick up next, is it okay that I bring you, and then I'm gonna take them where they're going, and then I'll take you last. Is that all right with you? He said, yeah, that's fine. Now I'm gonna let him tell y'all how we know that this was God working with us too, because even if I didn't listen with him, we get to where we was going. First we couldn't even find, we going around in circles trying to find the man. He's like lost into like an orbit that we can't even find the road that he's on. And we going in circles for a minute, and I was about to leave him. And then something told me to take my time, be patient. Patience was the word. And I got patient, and I called him. He helped us get to him. When we got to the man, what happened? I ain't gonna even tell you. I'm gonna let him tell you because he wouldn't. This is his first time witnessing it. What did you see? What did you hear me and him saying?
Like where we were going with this? Or what?
No, with the guy that we picked up, right? Mm-hmm. What did you discover about that guy that we picked up?
He was going through a really rough time in his life where he had to go pick up his kids from his ex-wife, and his home, like he wasn't able to sit there and bring his kids back because there's probably someone there that didn't want to be with his kids. You had to
He
take
couldn't
them
take
to a
his.
motel.
That's right. We had to take him to a motel with his kid. First, we picked him up from our house with his bag. Then we took him to pick his kids up from his ex-wife's house. Now, but this what he ain't telling y'all. I thought he would told y'all this. I knew that man before that we picked up, didn't I? He told you that, didn't he? How did I know him?
Because you were the one that dropped him off at his house.
I gave him a ride before. I gave him a ride probably about, when I first started driving Uber, it was about 4 or 5 months ago. I gave him a ride to meet with his crazy ex-wife. And he was trying to help the crazy ex-wife that day. He was leaving his job. I was picking him up from his job because he was taking off to go to his son's graduation, and he had to pay for the stuff or whatever for the son to even do it. And the wife asked him to pay, and he said, yeah, he would pay. And then when I had to pick him up to go to the graduation, he called the wife and told her he was on the way, and she asked him, why is he coming? Boy, that hurt me, bro. That hurt me. You can ask this man for the money to pay for it, but you gonna ask him, why is he coming to his own son's? Crush me. But that's another live for another whole video, right? But this is how we knew it was from God. Because when I got to pick that man up and he got in my car, I said, hey, man, you about to go work out? He said, no, I'm about to go pick my kids up. And when he said that, me and him knew he was talking to me. And I remember him from the last time when I picked him up. And he said, yeah, that's you, bro, didn't he? It was like we was friends. He was like, yeah, that's you. I know you, bro. I said, yeah, I know you. I picked you up. He was like, yeah, man, I'm going over to that crazy woman house now. I said, look, tell him why this is of God, because something's going on between me and him right now. And I want him to know that this got to be God working. And the man sat there and told him how he met me. He was like, I helped him through a ride and getting to his son the last time with this crazy wife. And now here it is. As I was talking to that man and talking to him, this is when the conversation gets a little more interesting with my friend Angel here, and how I know I was doing what's right by me. And I'm yielding to what God wants me to do, and I need to do more of it, no matter who don't like it, who it don't sit well with, who don't understand it, who don't enter or overstand it, who can't resonate with it, who can't recollect who can't pick up what I'm putting down. I can't worry about all of that. I just gotta worry about the one or two, you and you and you, whoever out there that can relate, who can receive, who can eat from this. And if you can't eat off this plate, you know, you gotta know how to eat the meat and spit out the bones. And sometimes if you won't eat meat, if you ain't on table food yet, just take the milk and be all right with the milk. Take what you need, leave what you don't. But if the shoe don't fit, don't put it on. But if you can get something from this content, man, get it. And I'm letting y'all know, as well as under God right here, I'm gonna do what my Father's putting me on a mission to do. And I know now this is my mission. Because we get to the point of meeting the guy in the back seat and him saying, I said, bro, this is God. Tell him how you, I said, man, tell him how you know me so he'll know that this is God. And he's like, yeah, man, he picked me up and told you the whole story about how I picked him up and helped him, right? So now I'm in a position to help him, and I didn't even know I was going to be helping him. But tell them, open up about what you told me when you said, as a result of going through what you've been going through with your mom, and adversities and struggles and trials and tribulations and situations and circumstances of life drove you to what?
Trying to commit suicide three different times.
Don't say that. Tell them, give them a breakdown. Go ahead and tell them what led to that.
Not only dealing with my abusive dad and then my mom too, the divorce going on, then leaving off for boot camp. And that was the first time I ever saw my grandpa ever cry or anything, just because he knew he was gonna miss me. Leaving behind my grandparents back there, it really sucked. But then I come down here, we're away from home, trying to live on my own. But then I'm here studying for nuclear engineering here in the military, and my whole life is based off of a test score. It doesn't matter how hard you study or how hard you try the program. Sometimes it just fucks you over, and it gets to the point where I was only sleeping like 2-3 hours a night every single night for like the past year or so, just to try and make it through the program. And it's so mentally straining, and also just people that you have to deal with. I had a really messed up roommate. He didn't do any laundry, he didn't shower, he left all his dirty stuff out, and he had a wet fishing net that he had left in our closet. And it was to the point where like our whole room smelled like dead fish. And the thing is, he blamed me for it, when that was all his stuff. And I'm like, look, I came from the big city, I don't even know what the fuck fishing is. I don't know how to do that. But
I'm coming with you.
yeah, it sucks. I got blamed for all of that.
Peace and love.
And I'm just over here, and I'm normally a cheerful guy, or at least I try to be. And one of my buddies eventually just pulls me over because he sees that I'm a bit under the weather. He's like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm fine." He's going like, "No, you're fucking not. Like, you are not fine." And I'm going like, "No, like, leave me alone, man. I'm good." Yeah, he even tells my chief that like something's wrong, and they both pull me aside, and they're going like, "Nah, dude, if you tell me you're fine one more time, like, no, you have to lie." I was like, I'm fine." And next
And
thing
what
you
did
know,
they do after you kept lying? What did the chief do to you?
he sent me to inpatient and at a mental hospital to like, try and get help. And I was there for like a week. I got out for like 2 days, and I went back again for like another full week due to some failed suicide attempts.
Okay, now that's why I wanted you to, I was about to just say, go back and tell them why the lieutenant sent you there, because you left out that part. The lieutenant knew what? That you did what? And that's why he sent you there. Tell them that so they can hear that.
I tried killing myself a couple times. One was actually shooting myself with a shotgun. One was just,
We'll get it, we'll get it. Move the shoot to get it. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, finish telling. One was what?
one was driving straight into a steel barrier on the highway. And one was stabbing myself with a hunting knife I had in my car.
Driving straight into a steel barrel on the highway as a suicide attempt. And then shooting yourself with?
With a shotgun in the face.
Shooting yourself with a shotgun in the face. Now, I asked him to do this, not to talk about all of this, but he wanted to express it because I wanted to let him know that he's not a victim. I didn't want to talk to him for a pity party or for sorrow or for, empathy. I do empathize with him though, and I sympathize with him. But not for any of that, man. He's a victor. I told him he's a warrior, he's strong. And I don't know whether he feels like he needs, therapy is not bad. And I don't know whether he feels like he needs it or not. But I know what he told me. He told me tonight, he said, "Hey bro, what you did with me by talking to me this little bit tonight has helped me way more than 3 weeks of therapy." So what I'm saying is, I know that was God's way of showing me that this is my calling. And if I don't do it, I will be passing up on the opportunity to minister to hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of kids like this guy. And when I was going through my stuff with my upbringing and being raised by my grandmother, because I'm talking about the happy sides of it. It's not about bashing mothers or fathers. It's about going through adversities and trials and tribulations and getting through them and creating dialogue and ways to help others get through them. It's almost like I look at myself as I went through the sticker briar bushes in the woods, and I made a path. I'm gonna make a path for others to come through so it won't be so terrifying, so it won't be so treacherous. You don't have to get all skipped up like I did. And so that's a tough job for people like myself to do. Did you sign it already? That's a tough job, but God gives his toughest battles to the strongest soldiers. And that's what I had to share with my guy here. He's a strong soldier. Metaphorically, figuratively, and literally, he's a soldier. He's fighting for our country, okay? Learning how to do nuclear things and things of that nature. He's far from a fool, okay? Far from ignorant. And that's what I want him to know. He's not ignorant, he's not foolish, you're not suicidal. You had thoughts of that, okay? You may have attempted. I had thoughts of suicide. I never attempted, I never tried, and I shared that with him when he shared that with me. Instead of me attempting suicide, I channeled the energy, and I channeled what I was feeling in those feelings, and I wrote a song called Suicidal Thoughts. And soon y'all gonna hear that song because that's a part of my calling as well. But one thing at a time. And you have to put the horse before the carriage. And it starts where it starts. And where things started at with me was my birth, me being birthed here into this world. And when I was birthed into this world, there's things that has transpired from that point until now. And everything in between these two gashes is what matters. And that's what I want to talk and tell and minister to people about and let other youth and kids and some grown adults, because this guy right here has helped me out tonight. I'm double his age, but he's helped me out tonight in tremendous ways. Although he's saying I help him out a lot, and what we've talked about and what I've done for him was better than therapy. He didn't know that what he was doing for me is greatly appreciated. It's very much needed, because I shared with him before we do this. I said, stop that, let's don't talk about it anymore. I asked him, I said, would you be willing to let me crank my camera up and let's just have a talk about this over the camera, because nobody would never believe this. Didn't I say that? I said, nobody would never believe it. He said, why would you want to record it? I said, because if I don't record it, me telling this to somebody, it's just only going to be like a memory, or they're just going to have to believe it. I said, but if I record it, we got living proof. And I said that. Mm-hmm. I said, now if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. And you said, I'll do it. I'm fine. And we're here. And the only reason why I'm recording it is because the devil works in secrecy. Okay? Anything that's of a secret is of the devil. And we know that. And the gospel is called good news. That's why they call the gospel good news. And the gospel is we preached about. So you preach the good news, right? And the secret is of the devil. So if we are having dialogue that could help us, and we keep it secret, wouldn't that be of the devil? Okay. So I know that the stuff that I'm going through in my life, people may not have, or have went through in my life, or have gone through, because I've overcame. I'm a victor too, just like him. And listening to his story and what he's been through, boy, I'm very appreciative of what I went through. I mean, they say you complained about not having shoes until you seen a man with no feet. Okay? I was the dude running around here complaining about no shoes on, till I met a man with no feet. And that's a metaphor of what I'm using right there, but I'm just saying sometimes you always thinking you're going through something, but you never know what the next person is going through. And so, as a result of what I've been through, I'm using my story, my trials, my tribulations, my circumstances and situations, my mess and my tests to become a message for somebody else, to become a testimony. My mess will be a message for somebody else. My test will be a testimony to somebody else. And I don't mind being humiliated if I have to be humiliated to do what God wants me to do. Humiliation and humility is very much in common. And humility is a good thing. I figure at times when you are humiliated, that means you're stripped. You're at the bottom. You can't go no lower than being humiliated, and that's a good place to be. It's almost like when God put us in, God like to put us in places where we know that He is the only help that helped us, and that's why being vulnerable with God is a good way to be. Vulnerable is like another way of saying being naked. So when you come to God, you come naked. You don't come acting like you got it all together. You come naked, vulnerable. And that's why in relationships it's best to be vulnerable. Coming vulnerable in relationships is a strength. But a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be naked, because then you'll see things about them that they don't want a lot of people to see. But tonight I just want to shake your hand, my friend, and say, thank you for your friendship, your vulnerability, your openness, and for sharing. And that's love. That's love as well. I appreciate you. And what you did for that lady was nothing less than a great gesture of a good Samaritan. And you being a soldier and a victor in your own life as well as a soldier for the country, man. Don't let what other people perceive about you dictate your life. And know that you are more than a conqueror. And you're more than what you think about yourself at times and what others think about you. Remember what God says about you. All right? I love you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Hey, y'all. It took a lot out of me to ask him to do this and to sit here and do this. But I knew I needed to do it because this is just the beginning, the brink of what's to come for me on this calling of mine. And he's just the thing that pushed me to get it going. This is the start. But I got a lot more to come with this message and this mission of mine, because there's a lot of youth that are going through things in this world right now. The Bible speaks of wars and rumors of wars. And it's going to be those are the last days. Right now, if we look up in the world, we got wars. There ain't no rumors of the wars. They already warring and killing right now, if you don't know it, okay? Okay, and I don't want to make it sound crazy, and I ain't talking about nothing in particular. I'm talking about the Bible. The Bible said there will be wars and rumors of wars, and what we looking at now. Also, the Bible said in the end times, mothers will be against sons and daughters, and fathers against daughters, and yeah, things of that nature. And we looking up right now in this world, and what do we see? I'm a black man that's saying the same thing, and I'm 40. He's 20 and saying he's been through even worse as a white man. So race and color don't even matter. Okay? You can say the black man ain't going through what he's going through because he's black. Okay, well, what is your excuse about the white man? Or the Chinese man? Or the Jewish man? Or the Mexican man? Or whatever the hell you are. Because everybody got trials and tribulations and circumstances that we all are going through. And so, it's going to take very upright people, righteous people, that's willing to speak truth to power, that can create these type of dialogues and come together as brothers, as powerful people, and do what most people can't do or won't do. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, how y'all know it's true. You can deny it if you want, but right now, everybody, when the majority is doing something, that's probably not the thing to do. And the thing that me and him, or the good thing to do, or the right thing to do, you ain't gonna find a lot of people doing it because it ain't easy to do. But everybody like to choose the road of least resistance. Only the man with muscles or the strong man is gonna choose the road with resistance, because it takes you resisting something to get your muscles. It takes you going against something to get strength. And so I'm ready to go against me, against the world, because that's how I felt all my whole life. And when I had those suicidal thoughts, I'll share with y'all what caused me those suicidal thoughts later. Maybe I'll get back with him and we'll talk about that in another video, but this wasn't about suicidal thoughts. I got a song coming for y'all to explain about that. This was about youth that experience some things from parents that they don't understand and will never understand until somebody help them understand, whether it's somebody from therapy, some scholar, or somebody who knows best about it to get the child to understand it. But until then, there'll be a 40-something, 50-something, 60-something-year-old somebody not understanding what they're going through. And I think it needs to stop. We're in an information age right now, man. Why can't we have dialogue that helps us through a lot of the situations and circumstances that we're going through? Let's help the homeless. Let's help these kids. Let's help the youth. The youth, the kids are the future. And if we don't treat them as such, our future is doomed. All right? So y'all say y'all are children and people of God. Let's stop saying it. Let's stop preaching it. Let's stop talking about it. And let's start acting like we know. Okay? Like I said, this is the first day of the rest of our lives together, brother. And this is the first day of the rest of my life doing what God wants me to do about this calling right here, because there's, like I said, hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of kids out there who's going through the same thing. And we're going to do our best to put an end to it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You already know what I'm saying. Once again, I am the homie No Cash, and I'm going to sign this thing on off with a big team, folks. Hit them with a salute for me. Over and out. Peace and love. I want y'all to know, stay well and be blessed. And remember, this too shall pass. But the best, well, is yet to come. Holla at your boy. Peace.